Welcome to SFA All Access, your deep dive into all things SFA. I'm Hunter Giddings, and today's topic is the makerspace inside of the Steen Library. Stay tuned for an exclusive chat with Shannon Bowman, the makerspace librarian, as well as JD Shirts, a 3D printing enthusiast here at SFA. Welcome to SFA All Access. Today, I'm joined by the librarian of the Makerspace, Shannon Bowman, as well as JD Shirts, a 3D printing student here at SFA. Shannon, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
JD, how about you?
I'm doing pretty well.
Awesome. Well, thank y'all guys very much for joining us. I know it's a bright and early morning. Got you out of bed this morning to come stand in front of some bright lights. But let's get right into it. Shannon, the Makerspace department's pretty new, as it is with most universities and libraries around the state. What got SFA its Makerspace department?
Well, originally when I started here about 5 years ago, there was a emerging technologies area in the library. I did not find out about it until after I had been here for like a couple of years, and they moved it away. It had VR and some 3D printers.
Okay, so emerging areas is just like newer things, pretty much.
Right, and since nobody was using it because nobody knew about it, it went away. We came up with a proposal, another librarian and I, that we sent to the provost, that we asked for a brand new makerspace because it is something that a lot of schools are using now.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's cool. So that got accepted. What was y'all's starting budget with everything? What did y'all start with equipment-wise?
Equipment-wise, we started with all of the 3D printers that were in the Emerging Technologies Lab. There were a couple of 3D printers and then I think 12 sets of VR headsets.
Okay.
And then they gave me $30,000 to get started buying equipment. So I bought more 3D printers, the laser engraver, resin printers, everything else that we ended up buying.
And this has been all you?
This has been all me, yes.
Well, good job. I mean, I saw your makerspace. We got a little bit of video from it. It looks very nice. I see y'all keep bringing in new equipment and everything. Could you tell me a little bit about the different type of printings y'all have? I know there's different filaments and whatnot. Different types of printing itself, though?
We have two different types of printing. We have what is called FDM, filament deposition modeling. It is what you normally think of as a 3D printer.
Right.
It is the filament printer that prints items like this. We also have a resin printer, which is smaller and works in finer detail because it is, you can't see the lines like you can in the filament printing. So we had the two different types of 3D printers.
So I want to talk more about your helmet later, but I don't see much lines in here. How come there's no lines on this filament printing?
So this has been sanded and primed, and it's a whole process in and of itself to get it all smoothed out. You can feel it's really smooth.
That's pretty smooth, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty much how the real thing is. So, and that was what I was going for.
Awesome. So JD, 3D printing isn't a hobby everybody has. What kind of got you into that?
Just being a nerd. You hear about it, and
I definitely understand that.
yeah, and it's been, in fact, right before I think the Makerspace opened up, I can remember I was begging my parents for a 3D printer, and then I hear about this, and I was like, I know what I gotta do.
My time has come.
this is it. And I can remember the first time I went to the Makerspace, Chase was working there, and I told him what I wanted to do, which was make a Star Wars helmet. He was like, get yourself some filament, come right back here, we're gonna get you on that printer. It was great. It was awesome.
So who's Chase?
Chase is my IT technician.
Okay, so we have people who help around in here?
Yeah, he is the guy who fixes everything when it breaks.
Heard. So to use the equipment, do we need any training or anything? Or?
Yes, you do have to have safety training for all of the equipment. We run classes throughout the semester on how to use the laser engraver and how to use the 3D printers.
Awesome. Was there any cost for that?
No, there's absolutely no cost for the classes.
Heard. What about, materials or anything to actually use the printer?
We, at the beginning, we had no way of purchasing the filament for students.
Mm-hmm.
So what we did was we would ask students to bring in their own filament, but we now have the ability to charge for it. So they can either pay for the materials or they can bring in their own.
Awesome. Well, stay with us because we will be right back with more interesting topics and discussions about the Steen Library's Makerspace, right here on SFA All Access. Hopefully you didn't miss us too much. Welcome back to SFA All Access. Your look into all things that make SFA spectacular. Librarian of the Makerspace, Shannon Bowman, as well as JD Shirts, 3D printing student, has graciously joined us today. Welcome back, Shannon and JD.
Thank you.
Good to be here.
Of course. So we talked a little bit about costs. We talked a little bit about Makerspace itself and the equipment that we can find inside Makerspace. How do you feel, SFA having a Makerspace benefits SFA in general?
Well, one thing is that we are open to everybody on campus, not just students, but also faculty and staff.
So you don't need to, do graphic design?
No, you can be any major,
Okay.
any department. Even the provost can come in and use us if he wants to.
There we go. English majors working on 3D
We've
printers.
had an English class work on 3D printers. Yes.
That's awesome. I know Herbert Midgley, professor here, he has a little bit of involvement at Makerspace. What does he do around there?
He runs our music station. So we have a small music station with a couple of computers, a couple of, can't remember what they're called, but they can do beats.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're mini pads. Like I said, I can't remember what they're called. But we also have a guitar, we have a keyboard. They can do podcasts, they can sing.
Okay, so just another way of making the Makerspace a bit more inclusive to people who want to do auditory art, I guess.
Right, and you don't have to be a music major to use it.
Awesome. What about you, JD? How have you benefited from Makerspace?
Well, I I get to have a really cool looking helmet that I made.
That is a big
but
benefit.
I think a big part is just I was so unfamiliar with it that despite all that, it was still very open to me. I don't have a lot of relations with 3D printing with my major, which is art education. But I do know there can be some times where the class can collab with the Makerspace. I'm pretty sure they've done that before.
I can totally see how that could help.
Yeah,
in the future, teaching students, 3D printing.
And it's one of those things that it's like, you could very much, show it to anybody. And it's a learning process, but it can definitely be helpful.
For sure. I want to talk about this. This is, the coolest thing I've ever seen. What is this? Where is it from?
So, if you can, it's a Star Wars helmet. This was ARC Trooper 5's from Star Wars: The Clone Wars.
Okay.
And he's one of my favorite clones.
Flashbacks.
Yeah, and I was like, I want to make a helmet that I can't get just online. And I was like, I want to make an ARC Trooper helmet. And I was like, wait, 5s. And so it all just kind of like fell into place. And like, I don't know, working on this thing was definitely like, it was a challenge because it was so like unfamiliar to me.
Right.
But you can see like, I think I did pretty good.
I think it looks amazing.
Thank you.
We've been friends for a little bit. I saw a little bit of your process through it. It took a lot of work,
a
lot of time. How much time?
This was pretty much, think of like the beginning of fall semester to about like November. That was about how long. So, and that was including like printing, and because believe it or not, these were actually separate pieces before.
Okay.
So if you actually look on the inside of the helmet, you can see where they were connected, and kind of melded together, and you couldn't even tell.
You said Chase at the Makerspace helped you with this?
Yes, he was the
Awesome.
one that was kind of like,
Directing you through the process.
the puppet master, I guess.
That's awesome. What other projects do you have?
Well, I'm currently working on a screen accurate Darth Vader helmet. It's been taken from the scans of the Empire Strikes Back helmet, and I currently have it primed and sanded. But that's going to be my big summer project, and I'll definitely be posting more about that.
I can't wait to see that one. So, Makerspace, what would you want to see come to it? If you saw any changes happen.
Man, I really could not complain with what's already given.
Perfect as is.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much that you're able to work with that it's like, I don't know, bigger printers. Let's make armor, like full sets. I don't
That's
know.
one of the things we're coming up with is we're going to get bigger printers.
That's awesome. So anybody interested in joining Makerspace, where would they go to find some more information about this?
Just the SFA Makerspace website. Just do a Google search for SFA Makerspace. We're the first link.
That's awesome. Well, unfortunately, I think that's about all we have. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Shannon, thank you so much for joining us. JD, thank you so much for joining us.
Of course.
And of course, thank you, Lumberjacks, for watching. Be sure to tune in next time for the next episode of SFA All Access. And as always, axe 'em Jacks.